Hello, good evening. Welcome to another episode of Shades of Edinburgh. I'm terrible at introductions, so we're just going to get right to it. Yeah, Aili is going to just go walk into the Crimson Moon here and grab a drink, drink quotations, and just kind of see what's happening tonight. For once in her life, she's got a moment and needs a moment.
Yeah, she comes in. She'll notice the horned metis sitting at the bar, but he's not facing the bar. He's kind of out observing what the rest of the room is doing. So he's kind of got his elbows back, leaned back, and got a big uh, I don't know what they call them, a big stein of beer, and he's just kind of watching the goings on.
She kind of stops for a second, noting the horned one again. But then, and instead of running away like she did before, she's kind of half smirks.
Yeah, he you know, seeing the new addition to the room, looks over and kind of squints at Ailey as if he might recognize her, but he's not quite sure. Anyway, he kind of gives the heads up, like the chin up nod at her anyway.
She kind of like walks up to the bar, having gotten her unnecessary beverage, and no, she kind of just she just looks over at him. She's like, "Oh, you're not scurrying across the floor tonight. Very good."
He blinks at her.
She just smiles. He's probably like, damn, that was ballsy.
Thinking to himself, fucking woman, she's lucky we're in protected space.
I mean, yeah, we're in protected space. All I can really tell you is that if you could tell Gunner was kin, you can tell she's kin,
Hmm.
was kin. Uh, Out of character, the lineage is still a mystery that wasn't really let on to, so
But
I
she's
can't
got
tell you
PB.
what. Yeah, so I can't tell you what that is.
That's fine. Um, yes, well, that was an interesting night, and as it happened, there weren't many who even stood up to try to do anything.
I know. I was there. She chuckles.
Anyway, how have you been?
Anyways,
You can tell he's like trying to like small talk, but he's not good at it.
I'm still here, so I guess as good as I can be, all things considered.
Hmm.
You look like you're looking for something.
I've heard that there's been some shenanigans in town, and while I don't necessarily expect that I would see them here, I was sort of hoping that I might run into someone that I knew who would be able to sort of fill me in on the deals.
Gotcha. Well, there's all kinds of shenanigans going on in this city.
He kind of chokes on his beer. That's true. Um, yeah, it's seems like there's I don't know what's the right word for it. A gang, maybe, maybe a mafia. I don't really know, but it's just wanted to see if it was anything that needed
She kind of
Extra
raises an
eyes on.
eyebrow. She kind of raises an eyebrow. Huh? It is a city. There's all kinds of that going around. Anything more specific?
From what I've heard, these clowns call themselves the Legionnaires.
Oh, oh. She kind of like sits up for a second and just kind of, you see her actively like look side to side just to make
he
sure.
he kind of also looks side to side to see what you're looking at.
She's looking side to side to make sure that anyone present isn't like, you know, she's trying to make sure that they're in good there's not weird ears around. You kind of get that drift.
Right, and when seeing him do it, she would probably understand that generally he doesn't give a shit.
Right. Well, these legionnaires, as they're called, they're I mean, they're mostly doing white collar crime, so they're not in some organized street crime, but not like anything big. Mostly bankers, like they're doing money laundering and inside trading funds, like funding like they're funding black market drugs and other illicit goods, but they're not really they're avoiding other black market things.
Hmm.
Um,
Out of character. This is a strictly not human bar, right?
yeah, well, yeah, it's a meeting place.
Okay. Um, are they humans?
They could be, but I suspect some may not be. I suspect they um well, I'm not sure how much you know about what's everything going on, but I can safely tell you that I do believe that they are a vampire. I
He
do believe
he frowns.
that the individual heading it is a very old one.
That's what I was afraid of, and I'm pretty sure I know who you're talking about.
She looks at him like
We
really like oh like,
we've we may have had a scrap once or twice.
she kind of like leans forward. She doesn't want to like say it too loud because she doesn't know what everyone knows, so on and so forth. And she's like, "Are you talking about Mithras?"
He leans in closer. I'm not talking about Mithras.
Well, that is his MO.
And that's why I was concerned.
Well, I
If it
mean,
was just a band of humans doing human crime, I don't really care.
well, from what I understand, this is kind of his shtick, digging into those, and his little cult has their hands in a variety of different things. Like, understood they've even gotten to like the Masons and stuff.
Hmm. He's a
So
busy boy. Out of character.
I
Lucas has no idea what Ailey's position in the hierarchy is.
Oh, well,
Like none at
all right.
all.
Well, she's
So just as kind of a preface for what he's gonna say next, he's like,
okay.
I don't I, I don't really know too much about how things operate on that side, but I can't imagine the vampire powers that be. You can tell him kind of slow down and like it almost sticks in his throat to say it. The vampire powers that be are going to be too thrilled that he's racking up so much of a following so quickly.
You're right. I'm not thrilled about it. She's very direct at that point. You're right. I'm not thrilled.
He can just kind of raises an eyebrow at her.
That would be my job. Imagine how fun it is being the new guy just getting into the job and being slapped with a guy thousands of years older than you are.
Well, he's not impenetrable.
She raises an eyebrow. Well, you did say you encountered him a few times. You're still standing.
Well,
So,
the first time, I don't want to say was none of the times were easy, but the first time it was basically just him, and then he, did us all a favor and killed Amber.
he took care of Amber.
Yeah, out of character. That's right, right?
I think technically Lucas ended up with a killing blow on Amber, but Amber was the one that woke him up out of.
Didn't I thought Mithras like I don't remember.
Uh,
I
Amber
don't
was waking him up by feeding him Vitae,
I don't remember
and we
interacting
call.
with Amber at all. I remember fighting
Yeah, you
Mithras
fought
directly.
Mithras. He ran after Air got smacked the shit out of by Mithras using Amber. And
Okay, well okay,
he ended up with
rewind.
the yeah.
The When we first encountered Mithras was the same time when Amber died.
I'd like to hear more about that.
Amber was a giant pile of shit, and
Oh, I'm well aware. I'm aware, Amber, of him being a pile of shit.
we were investigating him, which led us to eventually track him to a place where he was waking Mithras, I guess. I don't know how else you would word it. Uh,
Oh,
Yada, yada, yada. Fight ensued. Yada, yada. Amber dead. And
so
before we could finish Mithras, he poofed into a cloud and fucked off.
oh, she's just like staring, like, oh boy.
Like
Well,
if that gives her any sort of contextual idea as to like who she's talking to right now.
right. She's like, oh boy. Well, I'm going to assume he's got it out for you.
I think that was what spurred on the subsequent meetings.
And
But we weren't really able to interact with him at all, he had sent his minions, who were very well armed.
Well, he was kind of a master at war, so that doesn't surprise me.
I'm fairly certain he's going to be a lot harder to take down now that he's had time to establish himself.
You are correct. But the problem is, hey, it's going to take a lot of effort. Can't just be one-sided. He's not just going to come for mine. He's going to try to take down everybody.
I mean, he's definitely
He
after
needs to have
us.
he needs to have absolute control over everything.
That's unacceptable.
It is.
Do you know if the Fae are aware of him?
I personally do not know. I would have to imagine they've at least heard the rumors, given I was first informed of them being true at a ball held by the Duke. And the individual sharing the information wasn't very quiet about the rumors.
Hmm.
Although I don't blame him. Mithras is trying to usurp him. So, start little and work your way up. That's what he's doing. Though I'll give him credit, he's been very careful in avoiding my businesses and such with his little schemes.
Well, I suspect once he has the army that he wants, at least at the size that he wants it to be, then he will not be. Probably not afraid is the right word, but he won't hesitate to not avoid entanglements.
Right. This leads for some varying issues between my people and yours, um, and even the will workers.
I
Because
don't have the.
it's hard to say when who's working with whom, especially when we don't know everybody's faces.
So I don't have the authority to commit to anything one way or the other than what I would personally do. Um, that's something I can definitely run up the flagpole, though.
I do have somebody at least communicating that way as well, but doesn't hurt to have more people putting it out there.
And you're 100% sure that these legionnaires are tied to him.
Yes. Let me put it this way. I have someone in my pocket who knew him very well. They they believe the same and are certain of the same. So,
Right.
yeah.
Well,
Um,
then it sounds like at some point a meeting is going to need to be called because he's clearly not going to stop at just one group. And that's assuming he doesn't
you
engage all groups at the same time.
know, getting ahead of him on that would probably help everybody.
I think at the very least it would
He,
show whether or not the Accords have any teeth.
I agree. Absolutely agree. Um, let's see. He's good with strategy, and yeah, these cons and pyramid schemes are right up his alley. He yeah, I guess Amber was believed to have been a betrayer of his. So I have to wonder what Amber's motives were there.
Well, that I don't know for
I
sure, at
mean,
least near term, but I know historically
but to wake him up is ridiculous.
unless he thought it was going to gain him some favor.
That's a possibility. Wake him up from his torpor. Let him come back to power, or maybe he was making his own grab for power and planned on using him as a tool.
I mean, possibly. That's kind of what I'm thinking. If I'm Amber and I know that the most powerful vampire in reasonable memory or whatever is right here and I can go wake him up, then maybe I get to be his second in command and then wait for my time to take first command.
Which was truly stupid of him. He could
At
have
any
had
rate,
that all for himself with Mithras prone. So waking him up was the dumbest move he could have made.
hmm,
If it were a power move.
maybe they were friends from the way back.
Oh no, yeah. I don't know how friendly they were, but I know that like I said, it was believed that Amber was betraying him, and it wasn't taken the warning wasn't taken seriously. Rather, the individual issuing the warning was punished for it instead.
That makes sense. He,
Yeah.
he said that with kind of a smirk, like, of course it did.
Yeah. So I I have to believe it was more of a control or power move, but like I said, he had him prone in that box. That right there would have been one hell of a powerful juice box. And he wasted it.
I don't know anything about any of that.
Well, I don't imagine that would be something someone like you would think about. It's not really something you would have to think about, is what I mean.
Right. Now the trailing of Amber was definitely not for trying to grab at power or anything like that. He's one that I'm not surprised. Let me rephrase that. I am surprised that someone else hadn't found him out prior to us learning about him and bringing him his reward, if that makes sense.
Maybe.
He just seems like a total douche, and I would have expected someone to off him well before we ever learned about him. But
Well, from what I understand, I mean, even if he's down, it still takes a lot. He's old. He has experience. He's seen things many of us haven't and won't get to. And
hmm,
with that comes that little pompous attitude, and he thought that they can get away and do anything.
well, it caught up with him. He takes a drink.
Well,
Anyway, so you sound like you have a degree of authority to call a meeting or at least get representatives from your people to meet with everyone else.
I do have that authority. I can I could go myself. I have a few trusted individuals that could go for me,
Well,
but I
I
do
can
believe
definitely
the
tell
ultimate
the
authority is the Duke.
out
As
of
far as
character. I'm not sure who she's talking about for the
oh, the Duke, the Fae,
Okay, that's what I.
he has ultimate authority over the entirety of the city, but
Oh,
she definitely has herself or a few vampires that can throw input.
so I've never talked to the Duke before. I think I've seen him once.
Oh, well, out of character, the Duke is well aware of everything going on. Air went and told him.
Okay,
But yeah, so out of character, I don't even.
I assume
She
she would
probably
have
didn't
told
even think.
Lucas.
Yeah, she probably would have.
Okay, in that case, um, yeah, the from what I understand, I wasn't there, but the Duke is aware of what's going on.
I would hope so. I mean, oof,
So I suspect he'll be on board, given that he wouldn't be Duke for much longer if this gets too much further out of hand.
no, I don't. I don't imagine any of us will be would be an authority if he gets out of hand.
Right. So I guess we tell our people then and urge a meeting.
Indeed. See what we can do to coordinate on that.
Seems like at the very least figuring out where his headquarters is would be a good start.
Yeah, that would be. I don't think that's going to be something that happens easily, though.
Probably going to need to capture some key people and do a bit of torturing.
Torture may not be necessary.
It may
I have
not be necessary.
I have an individual, provided I didn't press his buttons too terribly much, that might have a little more to say, given he was sent a message directly saying that Mithras would be overseeing his position going onward. I may or may not have asked him if he enjoyed being a lapdog.
Some people may not take a huge amount of offense at that. Some people may want to rip your face off for that. Guess it depends on the recipient.
Well, I think it may have hurt the pride more than anything.
Hmm. All right. Well,
Yeah,
so assuming everything you've said is true, then pretty much everything that I've had feared about this group of people, is
I can safely tell
accurate.
you that I have personally gone and gathered the information regarding his little Legionnaire crime pals there. I personally went and got that information, and the rest of the information came from a trusted source as well.
Right then.
So,
So for the rest of I mean, I don't know how much you guys all talk to each other about your feelings. He looks at his beer. Um, but how many others actually know what's going on?
I would imagine many know what's going on. It was not exactly kept quiet at the ball. Anyone within yours, mine, or the will workers could have gathered all of that, so they could be in the know. It's hard to say how many people were there.
From
There's a lot.
yours, from the ones that you suspect know, how many of them would you think are brave enough to actually do anything about it?
Well, I can't imagine the vast majority of them are going to want him back.
But are they brave enough to die for that, or would they just pick up and leave?
That is a good question. Well, I know for a fact that I have at least 3 kindred working with me on this already. I know that's not a lot, but hey. Yeah. I have to see where everybody stands.
Well, like I said, I can't speak definitively for what mine will or won't do, but I think there's a pretty solid chance that they'll not stand by and let this happen.
Right. That was something else I kind of pointed out that may have agitated the other guy a little.
Something about us?
Um, it was just an observation about the rest of the night folk. I simply posed the question to him. I asked if he thought you guys were going to sit around and just take it, what he thought you would do, the others would do. That
I
was
mean,
my
I don't like to
subtle
think that
reminder
we're
that he's making that should he lay down that that they're going to have the rest of the city against them.
right.
I may not have the age that many do here, but I'm not stupid.
Well, at the very least, as long as they're not getting in the way, then that's something, I guess. But like I said, there's a pretty solid chance that I know which way our side is going to go. I haven't had many dealings with the Fae, but seems like the Duke will want to retain his power.
I certainly have no intention of sitting back and taking it. I'm not sure what I can physically do in the matter, but
Well, not everyone
there
is the
are other
shock troop.
means. This is true.
Take me, for example. I'm not super subtle. Anyway,
I do settle well. She kind of
it,
chuckles. So
in
subtle, Krampus didn't even know it was me.
lucky you. In your research on these people, were you able to find out at all where the street level people are operating out of, or do they have a central location?
I didn't find any locations. They didn't. My people did not name like locations, but they were at least able to give me a basic rundown of what they know. And yeah,
Which was more or less just that this criminal organization is tied to Mithras.
and they're doing the money laundering, the pyramid type schemes, you know, loan sharking, you know,
Hmm.
drugs, other illicit substances, but they're not really Yeah, they're avoiding a lot of other things, but those are the big ones. And,
And this could
you know,
always be done from the ground up, I guess. Find one of the street level guys and follow them and stake them out and see who they're reporting to, and then follow them around and see who they're reporting to, and so on.
right. Um,
That seems like someone more subtle like yourself would be probably better at than me.
well, Aili chuckles. I may have in places others don't as well. So,
Hmm. All right. Well, is there anything else that you know that I should be giving the chain of command?
hmm. Uh, on this, not that I have at the moment. I think the sooner we can all come together and try to come up with something should work. Though, you know, actually, one of our particular rules that we've set is not to mess with each other's assets. And I noticed that he's actually not fucking with mine. But that doesn't stop you guys from fucking with them.
As far as I know, he's not gone after any of our assets, but I don't know much about the politics and yada yada that goes on between the different groups, but I'm
I,
inclined to just go find him and stick an axe in his face.
I can't blatantly touch his business.
Oh,
I
that's
can
what you
keep an
mean.
eye on it. I can keep an eye on it until
Do
he
you
fucks
know
mine. What? If
do you
I
know
find
which businesses they are that he runs, that he owns or whatever?
there's just small laundering scams and stuff like that. But what I mean is that if we can find out some of who's who, we might be able to at least take care of them discreetly. The key is not getting caught on that one
Well,
for me.
right. Well, if you can give me some details for what I should be looking at as far as his business operations, I have some acquaintances who can probably tear all that apart without anyone knowing where it came from.
That that would be superb.
Maybe do things like get the tax agencies involved or other organized crime unit investigations, that sort of thing.
Well,
I saw a movie once where they did that to some big New York, whatever, mafia guy.
oh
Like they
no, I
couldn't
think
get him
just
on anything else, but they got him on taxes.
well, here's the thing. Law enforcement, they're typically human.
I don't expect them to get overly involved. I just need him to tip his hand.
No, but someone like him, He can easily manipulate that situation and make the cops feel like they're in the wrong.
Oh. Well,
So what you want to do is, so yeah, we want to take out those assets just to agitate him. He'll have to build them back, keep building them back up.
I'm fairly certain the people that I have in mind would be able to do that as well.
Good.
Right then. So,
I'll see what else I can find on that too, and maybe we can shred his finances and other assets somehow.
yeah, I think that that would be funny to watch.
Going after him directly is not going to be as easy until he's got some of those resources knocked out.
He's got to be angry enough to be in the open.
Right.
All right. Well,
That being said, I'm not actively, like I said, I will get any information to you guys that I can get my hands on if you're willing to start the rest of that.
oh, I'm more
But
than happy to stick my finger in his eye.
excellent. Excellent. He'll love it.
I'm sure he will. I don't know how many of our kind you've dealt with, but we can get kind of single-minded and douchey in that regard.
I've dealt with a few. She kind of like says that like awkwardly, a few.
I'm not surprised. You sort of have the smell.
I I hear that I have that smell. I don't know much about it. So it's got me in trouble though. So
I can imagine. Normally, I'm not so congenial, but
well,
out of respect for that,
I'm sure the proprietor of the place appreciates that.
uh, also there's that. Chuckles.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. If you think of anything or come up with any new details,
Oh,
this is my number. Text me.
she'll give him her number too.
In the meantime, I've got a whole shit pot to stir up.
Stirring the pot is always such a delight.
I don't know why it's always my job. I'm just kidding. It's very rarely my job. I'm the
Some
one
are
that deals with the
some are
blowback.
better at it than others. That's all.
I think the trick is to not get caught stirring the pot. Whenever I stir it, I get, I'm elbows deep in it.
Oh. Yeah, you don't want to get elbows deep in this pot.
He kind of shrugs. If I do, at least it'll bring him out.
Yes. Yes. That might not work so well for you if you're on your lonesome though.
Yeah, that's probably going to be one of the things I recommend is that no one goes anywhere alone.
Oops. She looks around. Oops.
Yeah, well, he would look around too, and I'm sure there's others from the SEP there too. But she may also deduce that he's, generally speaking, enough of a badass that
Well, right. He just told her that he hit Mithras and he fled. So
right. If I learn anything, I'll let you know. Otherwise, you know,
wise.
watch for the skies to turn red or something. I don't know.
Goody. That's not scary or anything.
It was a joke.
I
I'm
know.
not good at those.
Yeah, well, we all have our strengths and weaknesses.
Mm. He holds up his beer. To strengths, fuck the weaknesses.
Ailey looks at the drink in her hand that literally hasn't been touched.
He's like, it's fine. I get it. But that doesn't stop him
You
from
enjoy yours,
chugging the rest of his.
right? All right. Well, sir, I think
Good for me.
we both have some jobs.
Yerp.
And Ailey will set the full glass on the bar and stand up. Well, sir, you have a good evening, and I'll get back to you when I have information.
Likewise. He picks up her drink and drinks it.
Perfect. And with that, Ailey is going to strut her stuff out of the bar, click, 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 heeled boots on the floor.
Yep.
All right, good?
Yep.
And this was another episode of Shades of Edinburgh, a social scene. Good night, all. Oops.